Hello, I'm Claire Smith and welcome to my channel. So today I've got a perfume blind buy haul, or blind buy-ish haul. These are all perfumes that YouTube has made me buy. I've seen other people talk about these perfumes and I've just been really interested. And I would say out of all three of these perfumes, they're all really good. So yeah, successful blind buys basically. So the first perfume is actually one that I saw, I think Paola Bianca talk about, and also Grace Mwende. I absolutely love watching Grace Mwende. If you haven't checked out her channel, please go check her out. She's a YouTuber in Zambia, and she was saying that this perfume is basically the only perfume she can wear in the high heat. And yeah, I've just been after this one for a while. I remember I did try it in store ages and ages ago when it first came out, and I remember thinking, oh, I'm not sure about that, it's a bit green, or I'm not really sure, but it came out like 10 years ago, so my taste has moved on, and actually it wasn't how I remembered it. So the perfume that I've bought is Florabotanica by Balenciaga. So you may remember, if you've seen my other haul videos, that I picked up Balenciaga Paris back in the summer, and I absolutely loved that perfume. And I remember reading about Balenciaga and realising that most of their fragrances, or maybe even all their fragrances now, have been discontinued, and it made me want to try more of their fragrances. I remember trying Florabotanica and being a bit unsure about it, so I thought I'd pick it up again and give it another go. I happened to be in TK Maxx basically, and I saw it in TK Maxx. You know what TK Maxx is? It's the kiss of death, isn't it, for perfumes? Once you see them in TK Maxx, you know they're on their way out. So this is what the bottle looks like. I'll stop mumbling on. This is what the bottle looks like, and yeah, it just reminds me of like a Mondrian kind of painting with all these sort of, you know, red and the purple and the black and the white. It just looks like something sort of pop arty almost even. I know Mondrian's not a pop artist, but you know what I mean. So when you first spray this perfume, it's really a very fresh green rose, almost like a rose water. You know, if you cook with rose water, you'll know exactly how this smells. And it's also got a bit of a spearmint note in it, and I absolutely love spearmint. I love spearmint gum, I love spearmint sweets, so this is just a winner for me from the off. As it dries, it becomes a little bit spicier. The rose and the spearmint's still there, but it does become a bit spicier. So that carnation note does sort of rear its head, but it's not carnation in the form of cloves. It's just carnation in the form of something quite warm, a little bit spicy, and also a little bit soapy, I find, as well. In the dry down, this fragrance does smell almost to me like you know when you blow bubbles as a child with the bubble things, with the wands. It smells like the bubbles in those packs. It sounds weird, but that's what I smell. So this fragrance is famous for two things. It's famous for being a really green rose fragrance, and it's also famous for having a cannabis note. And I think I do smell the cannabis note, but I think if I hadn't have known it was in here, I wouldn't have known what it was. So there's something really green in the really far dry down, but I don't really smell it as, you know, like something you'd smoke kind of cannabis. It's something that is just the greenness of the plant, I think. And I don't know whether that's just me or whether I'm just, you know, not really that familiar with cannabis, maybe. So yeah, I've been loving this one. It's sort of triggering a lot of memories for me, this one. It's making me think of Turkish desserts. It's making me think of blowing bubbles as a child. And it's also just making me think of being in my garden as a child. It's just really nostalgic fragrance for me, I think, basically. So I think that's why I really love it. But I also think that this just smells really cool. It makes you smell avant-garde. It makes you smell like, I don't know, like an art student is how I feel wearing this fragrance. I know that sounds really weird, but that is how I feel. So yeah, I'm going to really enjoy rocking this one in the spring summer. I feel like it's more spring summer than it is now, but even now, I think this actually has great performance on me. I know some people say this doesn't last, but I am one of those lucky people where this fragrance really does last. It really does project. It's really quite strong, actually. A couple of sprays, I'm really good. So that's Florabotanica by Balenciaga. I'm really pleased with this one. So the second fragrance is also one that I've been wanting to try for ages, and I've been trying to decide which one from the range to buy, because I didn't want to buy more than one from this range because I felt that was excessive. Not that I can really talk about excess, the amount of perfume I bought this year. But anyway, so the range is the Nirvana range by Elizabeth and James. So this is a really famous celebrity perfume, isn't it? And it's now been discontinued. And I just wanted to pick one up from the range before they all started to disappear. They're already starting to disappear in the UK. I actually had to buy this from Fragrance X. If you do want this, it's on Fragrance X. I think it was about £23 for 50ml when I bought it, so it's not expensive. I went for the Amethyst in the end, so I was considering the Bourbon one, and I didn't go for that one because I really wanted to experience a tobacco fragrance. So the Amethyst fragrance is one with a note of tobacco. I think it lists honeysuckle and it also lists cedar on the note listing on the box. So the bottle looks like this, and it's just a really great bottle. It's so thin. This is what I want from a bottle. If you've got a lot of fragrances, you want something that doesn't take up a lot of room, and this bottle doesn't take up a lot of room. It looks really nice. It's in a beautiful purple colour. It's actually more purple in real life than it is on screen. I think the main note in this is exactly what I wanted. So I just wanted a really sort of sweet tobacco fragrance. Nothing dirty, nothing sort of smoky, just a really sort of pure tobacco. And this is it, but it's overlaid with something else. To me, it smells more like a vanilla rather than a honeysuckle. I wouldn't have pinned it on honeysuckle at all. It definitely doesn't smell like the honeysuckle in my garden. But yeah, I mean, I know honeysuckle's meant to smell very sort of, well, basically honey, doesn't it? It's sort of like just a really sweet, heady kind of fragrance. And I think, yeah, honeysuckle would go amazingly well with tobacco. But I don't think this smells like honeysuckle. This to me smells more like a tonka, a spicy vanilla. And I'm not sure it's the spices coming from the tobacco itself or from something else in this fragrance. But yeah, it's a little bit spicy as well. I'd say the tobacco in this fragrance does remind me of when I grew tobacco plants. So one of my first jobs was growing tobacco plants as a science technician. And I used to have to harvest the pods from the tobacco plants. So I feel like I know quite well how a tobacco pod smells, how the seed pod smells, how the stickiness and it's sort of all enveloping. You come out of the greenhouse and you feel a bit heady from it almost. It's so strong. And yeah, this is like a sweeter, sort of slightly more toned down version of how a tobacco plant smells. But I really love this. I wouldn't say this fragrance is something that is, beastly. It's not really massive projector. It does project a little bit, but I wouldn't say it's that long lived actually. I don't really mind that because it lasts long enough, and I'm happy as long as I can smell my fragrance. But I think this is definitely like a snuggly perfume. This is something that if you were close to someone and you smelt this on them, you'd be wanting to smell more basically. This one, yeah, it's just really I don't know. I don't really like saying perfumes are seductive or perfumes are sexy, because ultimately it's not the perfume, is it? It's the person. And however much you put of a perfume on, you're never going to turn into somebody else. This is not something that I like to kind of say, but I would say that this one is definitely something that is going to keep people sniffing. It's an interesting perfume, and it's just because of the sweetness, it's really addictive feeling. And I think maybe just because I'm thinking of addictive because of the tobacco as well. I really love the smell of, like pure tobacco. I don't like the smell of cigarettes, but I definitely love the smell of tobacco. And this one I think was a really good choice. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this one too. It's just really, really beautiful. I think this one is just making me want to try the Bourbon now. I've probably gone down a rabbit hole now and I'm probably not going to come out of it, but yeah, this one was really, really good, and I've been really impressed with it, especially the price point this was at. I think this is a really nice fragrance. So that's Elizabeth & James Nirvana Amethyst. So the third fragrance is one of my Black Friday purchases. In fact, it was my only Black Friday purchase. And the reason I bought this one was because I'd seen Veronica Sayes talk about this one, Adriana DC talk about this one, and also I'd seen a comparison video by Masked Man Reviews. And actually that comparison video was so helpful. So this fragrance is meant to be a little bit of a dupe for By the Fireplace by Maison Margiela Replica Fragrances. And I would say that I didn't really enjoy By the Fireplace when I tried it. I probably tried it about, I don't know, maybe a year ago. And okay, my taste has moved on and I haven't retried it. But I remember it being really super smoky, almost like you've been sitting too close to a bonfire and it's all got into your clothes. It's something that I just really don't like the smell of. So I was kind of intrigued by this one because both Masked Man Reviews and also Veronica Sayes said that this one was less smoky, and I have to agree, this one I really love. So this one is Ameer Al Oudh Intense Oud, and it's by Lattafa, and I would say out of my Middle Eastern fragrance purchases recently, this is probably my favourite actually. Actually, Masterman Reviews made this one sound like the better purchase out of the two. So the fragrance bottle actually looks like this, and I think the colour of this fragrance really perfectly reflects how this smells to me. So it's a really kind of caramelised feeling fragrance. It almost smells nutty to me. It smells like a hazelnut brittle is how this fragrance smells to me. But it's also a little bit woody. It's a little bit oudy. It's definitely vanilla-y for sure. It's, yeah, sugary, I would say, this fragrance. I think this is quite linear as well. It doesn't really change on my skin much. It's definitely got a little hint of that saffron that I get in other fragrances from Lattafa that I've got. I would say that the saffron in this one is definitely a lot less than the other two, and it doesn't bother me to the degree that I find it rubbery. I think this one is definitely my favourite of the Lattafa fragrances that I've bought, and I would definitely recommend this one. I think on Black Friday I paid about £10 for this, which I think is a steal. I've been wearing this to work a lot. I think it does project. I think this one is definitely one that you don't realise just how strong it is until somebody points it out to you. So I actually wore a couple of, I think I put about 3 sprays of this on, and I've been wearing this for maybe 9 hours, and someone came into the room and went, "Whoa, what's that?" You know, it's so strong, but you just stop smelling it, so you don't realise. Really nuclear, this one, but not in a scary way. It's not in a way that you really notice it. So I like this one. I think it's really delicious. I think it's really Christmassy as well. It's really suiting this time of year for me. So that's Ameer Al Oudh Intense Oud by Lattafa. So that's the final fragrance in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, please press the like button, and please also consider subscribing if you haven't done already, because that really helps my channel to grow. And please let me know what you think of these fragrances. I have absolutely loved all 3 of these, and I've been so pleased with my choices. I did a lot of research to buy these 3, and I think it's really paid off. I think this is a good thing. So thank you very much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.